Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video I would like to talk about how not to get nervous when doing a class presentation or just presenting in front of people. This is #1 requested video. Being a geologist, I'm very used to presenting in front of large groups of people, presenting my research, so I thought I'd share some of my tips, what I use and how I not get nervous before presenting. And my tips are a little unconventional, you probably won't find them a lot on the internet, so stay tuned and let's get started. Tip #1 is to know your slide but don't memorize it. Mistake #1 a lot of people do is when they get prepared for their presentation, they try to memorize it word by word. They're gonna try to memorize everything they're gonna say for every single slide. And it makes sense. The tip #1, if you go on Google and search how not to get nervous before presentation, tip #1 you're gonna get is preparation. Be prepared. Well, that makes sense. You kind of want to be prepared if you're presenting, but don't memorize it. And that's the thing I see over and over again. If you try to memorize it and you're not used to presenting a lot in front of people, chances are you're gonna go on stage, get nervous, and forget everything you memorized. A better strategy is to do what I do, is instead of memorizing it, I try to make a story in my head for every slide. So I know what I'm going to talk about for every slide I'm going to present, but I don't know it word to word. So for example, if I'm presenting about rivers and I'm presenting about geology, and say I have 3 slides in my presentation. First slide is going to talk about types of rivers, like all types there are, right? And I'm gonna list them out and like, okay, those are the types of rivers. Second slide would be about meandering rivers, and then I will know that, okay, in meandering rivers, I'm going to talk about how meandering river looks like on a map, what it consists of, and third slide is about braided river streams, and then braided river streams I would go on to talk about how it's different from meandering rivers. That's it. That's all I'm gonna memorize for that presentation. You know the material, so don't memorize it word by word. Rather, know the story, know where you're going with your presentation. Tip #2. Tip #2 is to eat a banana. And you're gonna say, what? And I've stumbled upon this by complete accident. Back at university, I was doing summer research and I was studying meteorites. And we found a unique meteorite, a specific type, and we were going to present my research at the Geo Convention, or rather, I was going to present my research at the Geo Convention conference. And a lot of smart people were going to watch me, and I was getting very, very nervous that day. Even though I knew my research, I was getting nervous they're gonna judge me, and they were all PhDs. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna ask me very hard questions and I'm gonna die. So I was going to that presentation, I couldn't eat because I was so nervous. The only thing I had at home was a banana, so I grabbed it as a snack. As I get to the presentation, I was getting late in the day, I forced myself to eat couple pieces of bananas. And you know the feeling when you are about to go on stage and you have this like you get very nauseous and a very sort of butterfly feeling in your stomach, and you feel like you're gonna throw up and then die shortly after. That's the feeling I had before that presentation. So I ate a little bit of that banana and I like forced myself to eat it about 15-20 minutes before, and somehow within minutes I started to feeling better. That feeling in my stomach disappeared, I calmed down, and I was like, whoa, that was strange. Must have been a coincidence because I was very hungry. So I tested theory again on my next presentation, a big presentation I had to give at work, and again it worked the same thing, and I was like, okay, it's not a coincidence. So I went on the internet and researched. Well, it turns out bananas have an amino acid called tryptophan, and which helps to produce serotonin. And serotonin is important for relaxation and pleasure, so hello. And also bananas are very rich in potassium and magnesium, which are naturally help you to relax your nervous system and just like muscle relaxants. So 2 in 1. So try bananas. If it works, please comment below because I'm very curious if it works just for me or for everyone else. Tip #3. Practice in front of your family members or in front of the camera. So the reason I'm talking about practice in front of your family, like your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, or whoever your significant other, is because I get very nervous presenting in front of my parents. And the reason why is because my mom is my harshest critic. She will be very honest with me. If she doesn't like something in my presentation, she's just gonna tear it apart. So I get more nervous presenting in front of my parents rather than in front of a crowd of strange people. And mind you, I rarely get nervous now in presenting in front of people. I actually like it. But my parents still make me nervous. So practice in front of your family members. If your family members don't make you nervous, then practice in front of the camera. The first time I sat down to make a YouTube video in front of the camera, it was I strangely got nervous. I got that butterfly feeling in my stomach because there's something about the lens staring back at you and like demanding you to talk to it that makes you nervous. So if you don't have a fancy camera, just use your phone, talk to your phone, and then watch yourself. And that also gives you an idea of what you can improve on during your presentation. Tip number 4. Tip number 4 is before you go on stage, before you go in front of the class, take 3 deep breaths. It always helps me, always calms my nerves. Slow in and out. And the reason it helps is because first it oxygenates your brain, and our brains like oxygen, so yay. And second, it also stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you to calm down. It's actually proven fact that if you're nervous, taking deep breaths helps you to calm down. So try it out. And finally, tip number 5, the most important tip of all, is self-conviction. If you self-convince yourself before presentation that you're gonna rock at that presentation, that you're gonna be a superstar, that's how it's going to be. The only reason we get nervous when presenting is because our brain tells us to be nervous. So if you can trick your brain into thinking that it's gonna be awesome, it's gonna be awesome. And when I do a big presentation that I know a lot of people is going to watch me, I tell myself, look, you prepared that presentation, or me. No one else in the crowd knows what the presentation is about. They don't know what you were going to say during that presentation. So even if you mess up a little bit, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know unless you show it to them. So remember that if you're preparing a presentation for the class, for your school, no one else in the class knows what you specifically going to talk about. And even if you mess up, even if you miss a little bit, no one's gonna know unless you tell them that you missed something. And chances are they are just as nervous to present as you are. So just remember that, like, everyone's in the same boat, and just have fun with it. Convince yourself you're gonna be awesome at it. And hopefully my tips helped you somewhat to next time when you're presenting, try them out, see if it helps you to relax a little bit. If it does, comment below. Also, thank you so much for 6,000 subscribers. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. Let's make it 10,000 subscribers. Give it a like, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.